Welcome to People First Builders, celebrating leaders in construction who build success through their people. My name is Fletcher Wimbush, your host. I'm the CEO of Discover.ai, a performance hiring software helping small and mid-sized AEC companies solve their hardest problem, people. We help people first leaders install and execute repeatable talent acquisition systems that drive business results by hiring top performers, lowering turnover, and building world-class company cultures. Stick around to the end and you can learn more about how to become a guest on our podcast and share your story with the world. Welcome to the People First Builders podcast. My name is Fletcher Wimbush. I'm your host. Today, I've got Brian Keller, the CEO at Quest Building Corporation. He is a dynamic yet humble business leader. He exists to inspire success and excellence through servant leadership, which I can't wait to get into that with you on, Brian. In 1998, he founded QBC along with 3 other partners. You guys are a full-service commercial contracting company that provides 4 scopes of work under one roof, dramatically reducing the stress of managing large-scale commercial construction projects. Today, QBC proudly serves southern Wisconsin from La Crosse, Milwaukee, in a 100-mile radius around Madison, Wisconsin. QBC helps managing complex commercial renovations and large-scale developments easy. Beyond construction, Brian is passionate about helping other business owners in the trades succeed. That's why you created the Build program, an educational curriculum designed to teach business owners how to build and scale and thrive. With Build, you aim to share the insights and strategies that have helped you grow your business and empowering others to achieve the same success. Brian, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So I love this mission. Like, you've obviously had a lot of success in your career and been doing it for a long time. So this Build program sounds like a way for you to give back to others unselfishly.
Yeah, Fletcher, we've been very fortunate over especially the last couple of years, to be able to surround ourselves with some really good people and take a few things off my plate, which allows me to spend a little more time just kind of looking at what we've done, how we've got here, and ways that we can share that with other people, kind of save them some time on their learning curve. So that's a big objective of ours.
Yeah. Now, are you focused primarily on the trades? I mean, you guys probably you're more of a GC or in construction management, I guess.
We are a subcontract, mostly labor company. So we framing labor, trim labor, countertop install labor, flooring install, but we also supply the materials that go along with all the labor that we supply as well.
Oh.
We do have our own general contracting license to where we could and can in the future and plan to be the general contractor and developer for our own projects.
Okay. So you definitely have been focused on the trades, and then you have a supply chain kind of side of this as well, which was pretty clever.
Yeah. So we back in 2014, Fletcher, we started importing materials from overseas. We were able to get kind of connected with somebody who had been doing that for 25 years, and they kind of showed us some quick ropes. And so we were able to get a importer of record license with the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol. So we've been importing for almost the last 10 years.
Wow. So that gives you guys a pretty good competitive advantage then when it goes to pricing or control over your own supply chain. You're not subject to maybe as many of the ups and downs that you've probably experienced the last 5 years, I imagine.
Yeah, it gives us a direct source to the manufacturer and to the fabricators and the producers of the materials we use in our projects. And so we've kind of taken it to the point where we really manage our own shipping and freight. We have kind of broke that out into different companies that help us with each part of that, from the trucking company to the customs clearance company to the actual freight forwarder who handles the containers. So we work directly with all of them to really help reduce our costs.
Wow, that's an amazing path that you've gone down. Are you also reselling products as well then to some of the other subcontractors?
Yep. So then we bring in all these products and resell them to our customers. The majority of it is for projects, so it's project-based sales.
Yeah.
To kind of a package deal with our labor and materials, selling them as one. We do a little bit of our direct sale of certain products to some of our customers, but the majority of it is project-based
Nice.
package sales.
Nice. Awesome. So, tell me about this, expanding. I mean, how did you get to a place? Well, maybe a good question is, how did you get to a place where you can begin to spend more of your time in giving back and, mentoring other contractors, right? What got you there?
So just a kind of quick history from the beginning. We started out, like you said, just four guys. At the beginning, we were just rough framers doing single family homes.
So 4 guys in a truck and
Yep, four guys out of the back of our truck, started in our kitchen, then moved to a 500 square foot office, then a 4,000 square foot office, then a 35,000 square foot place. We are currently looking to purchase some vacant land to build, would be our corporate headquarters. That's roughly around 150 to 180,000 square feet, I think, by the time we're done. And so what we did over the years is we just focused on processes and really learning and understanding business, not just, again, we started rough framing, so we didn't know anything about business, but we were fortunate to have some really good mentors and consultants along the way that really kind of helped teach us. Of course, then the crash happened in 2008 and everything got reset.
yeah.
And so we kind of started over from there. Went a few years, really tried to expand and grow a little bit, but we kind of hit a roadblock and couldn't get past that. And what ended up happening is I realized that I was telling everybody what to do, but I wasn't teaching anybody what to do. So I spent several years because I was kind of if you look at it from the perspective of teaching versus telling, I was a shitty leader.
Yeah.
I was really good carpenter, but I was not a great leader. So
Yeah.
spent a couple of years really researching that, understanding how to lead, and how to kind of grow a business. From there, we created and developed our own coaching and leadership programs that we teach internally. We probably run 4 or 5 different groups of our own employees through that process. Through that and developing all of these, learned a lot about just teaching and what the need is out there for other companies. And so as we kind of grew and expanded our companies and added all these other facets, trim labor, trim materials, cabinets, countertops, flooring, we started bringing on more people to start managing those things. And in the last year and a half, we really brought on some good people from an administrative side to manage the company.
Yeah.
Which has allowed me in the last 3 or 4 months to be able to really focus on education more and developing these different things where we can reach out to different people that are out there that could use a little guidance. For me, it was a big thing that if I could help, especially younger companies that are just kind of starting out that don't know all of these things. One big thing I learned from when I was not a very good leader to all the things I needed to learn is you don't know what you don't know because you don't know. You don't even know to ask.
Yeah.
Having learned a lot of that stuff, my goal now is really to be able to get out there and try and help other smaller companies or even the bigger companies to be able to just help them with any problem points or pain points they're having inside the organization, help them navigate that.
So I see that mentality, definitely successful leaders like yourself have made that shift from sort of this sort of like, dictator to this more of this servant leadership, mentality, which maybe you can explain what that is in your mind in a sec. But in the talent acquisition side of it is this kind of idea of like, there's no good people. The dictator says there's no good people. The servant leader says there's lots of great people. I need to help them, rise to their level of ability. Right.
Yeah, and we've looked at the servant leadership for quite a bit over the last several years. It wasn't until we really got a big kind of mind shift a little over a year ago. We were at an event, and it was a consulting company that we were going to start working with that help us kind of create our expansive growth that we want to do in the next 5 to 10 years. Yeah. And the speaker said that he hears everybody say there's no good people. And he said, the problem is good people don't work for shitty bosses. He said, you can't find any good people. It's because you're a shitty boss. Yeah. And it really hit me, not that we were a shitty boss, but we were looking at it the wrong way. We were looking at it's just so hard to find good people. And I had read a story in one of the books that I was reading about a gentleman who wanted to take a trek across the South Pole. And when he went to hire people, instead of saying, kind of building it up to be this great adventure, he went the other direction and said, "You're most likely going to die. There's no money, no recognition. The only thing that's going to come out of it is that we will accomplish it." And what ended up happening in the event was they got landlocked in the ice and they had to walk. But nobody died because of how he recruited. He got the right people. And so we kind of learned from this consulting company, and through that, it's all about finding the right people. So we really changed how we hire, how we look for people, and then really promoting that servant leadership inside our own organization just really helped us recruit the right people, and then getting the right people in the right seats on the bus was a big thing for us.
You become a magnet for great people. And I mean, you're in a market that I think most would consider one of the more difficult markets to find trade labor in, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, yeah. The construction industry as a whole is difficult, and it's had a little bit of a tarnished kind of image over the years because it's not that glamorous. People think you can't make a lot of money, but a lot of that has changed in the last few years, definitely, especially since COVID.
Yeah.
And so now it's a very honorable profession. You can make good money doing this. If you get in with the right company, we're like right now we go into the high schools. I do a little bit of assistant teaching with some of the construction kids down in the local high school, just trying to get them early to show them that there is opportunity and good opportunity. Like
Yeah.
it's not like this is a last resort. For some people, this can be their first resort.
Yeah. Yeah. We can come out of high school and make, more than most kids make after they come out of college, right? So you mentioned that you'd really changed some of your recruiting processes, and that story reminds me of the story of one of the early Antarctic explorers, right? The guy posted like a newspaper ad of like, "You're going to die, come with
Yep.
me." I can't remember the explorer's name now, but I've seen that before. That's a pretty compelling statement there,
Yeah.
But yeah, so what did you change in your recruiting process? I mean, so mindset, like I'm going to be a great boss, therefore, create a great place to work. That is, I think, fundamentally one of the big shifts that have to happen. Then, obviously, hopefully, you guys made some changes there, but then you went to market. How did you go begin attracting or finding and getting these people to raise their hand and say, "Hey, I want to talk."
So one thing I encourage whenever I'm talking to business leaders and people that are recruiting, especially small businesses, make sure you're getting the right people, and that comes down to how you recruit.
Yeah.
Recruiting the right person. So when we came back, we changed our ad copy, and it kind of read, "Hey, what we work in Wisconsin, so it's rainy, it's snowy, it's hot, it's cold, it's shitty weather. Excuse me,
Yeah.
it's not good." And you're going to work long 10-hour days, 5, sometimes 6 days a week, and you're going to be exhausted every day. Like this is not a good environment to work in.
Yeah.
However, when you're done at the end of the day and you stand back and look at what you've accomplished and you look at your peers and the people you worked with, you can be really proud of what you've done. And we're going to help you succeed in that and then help you achieve your goals and dreams. But you're going to work extremely hard to be able to get there.
Yeah.
And the change in the people that we got was it was night and day.
Mm.
But they're like, that's who we want to work for. We want to work for somebody who, we're going to go out there and work hard, but we get it done and we accomplish a lot. And so we really almost made it seem like not a negative place to work, but really more honest about what we were expecting. And then we started to get people that just really agreed with that.
Let's address the elephant in the room, or the obvious, that this is not easy, it's not glamorous, and in this particular environment, like geographic area, there's these extra unpleasant components of potentially doing this work, right? And then this inspiration of, we're going to focus on developing you personally and professionally, and we're going to do this together and camaraderie, and this is we have a mission and that is going to leave you satisfied in all those areas, fill all your buckets, is our goal to do. And that's a much different message than your traditional, like, I need a carpenter ad, right?
Yeah, and we when we bring them in, we have a three interview process to just really make sure we have the right person. And the one thing, like I always tell people when they're in, like when I go to the schools and talk to young kids, make sure in that process you're interviewing the company that you're going to work for,
Yeah.
because you need to make sure they're a right fit for you, and we need to make sure as a company that
Yeah.
the applicant is a right fit for us. Once we onboard them, one of the early things that we do is we just talk to them about their goals, personal, professional, financial goals over the next few years. What's that look like? What do they want to accomplish? And then how we can work together to help them get there.
Sound like a sales organization. That's what you do with salespeople. Now you're doing that with carpenters. I love it.
Right. And because what we're looking for and hoping is that we are getting people that they're just looking for a home. One thing in a lot of the research that I did is, people will do more for recognition and than they will for a paycheck. Obviously, they still need a paycheck,
Yeah.
but they also really want to be part of something bigger than themselves. The majority of people are just really looking for something and somewhere to connect that they feel like they can build a future. So we spend a lot of time on that. Like I said, over the last year or so, we've really developed some good leaders. We have one person, like that's one of her sole focuses, is really just focusing on the health of the employee as far as how they feel overall, not just about the company, but how they feel about their journey, where they're headed, their future. And, so we're constantly talking about.
So you have like a built-in coach for like all of your people. They just constantly, hey, where are you at in your process? What's going well, maybe what's not? How can we help you fix what's not and keep you going down the right path? That kind of thing. That's a constant attention then.
Yeah, and we're trying to do it every 60 days, though they just call them like just regular check-ins where
Yeah.
they'll, depending upon when it is, check in with the employee. And then as the employee kind of moves along their journey with our company, the leadership will start to recognize them that, hey, I think this would be somebody that'd be a good candidate for your coaching. So then they come in. We have two different programs. The first one we do about once a month. We bring the employees in. It's about an hour, hour and a half long. And we just start working on like just basic leadership and self-development type things. That goes for about 8 months, 6 to 8 months, depending upon how frequency. And then from there, they can graduate and go into an elite leadership program that really dives into a lot of personal development and a lot more leadership coaching. And we found a lot of success with that.
And you've been able to elevate some of those to leaders within the organization then ultimately, it sounds like.
Yeah, and there's the first group really grew within the organization, and now that group is part of the group that we have where we meet on a monthly basis, really talk about the future of the company,
Yeah.
what are we doing. They're the big problem solvers for the company anytime we run into issues, and then they're the group that kind of helps with the navigation of what we're going to be working on next, what we're working towards, along with me kind of sitting at the helm, navigating.
So you get a lot more autonomy in being leaders and get a lot more say in the direction and how problems are solved, right? It's no longer a dictatorship, right?
Yeah, and it was really refreshing that like they really grabbed hold of it, and then the ones at the really higher level really started protecting my time more with really kind of going through the questions and the problems that were coming up and really filtering those out before they got to me. Like they were problems and challenges they could all handle it and didn't even need to come to me as the CEO. So they've done a great job of that, really figuring out everybody's lane.
Yeah.
Lately, because we've had such growth lately, we've struggled with a little bit with everybody making sure they stay in the right lane and not overlap. So we developed this one question kind of philosophy that if you could only answer one question, what would it be? And really helped.
What's the question?
So I think we have one, two, three. There's 9 different questions we developed.
Okay.
Each different group in the organization. So I'll give you a couple examples.
Yeah.
So we have somebody who's in charge of strategy. Just what are we working on next? What's next opportunity? That person's question is, where's our new money?
Mm.
And then our marketing person, his question is just, where is our money?
Mm.
He's focusing on the new money. He's not really focusing on the right
Yeah.
thing or the marketing. Then the sales team is, where is our money? So once we figured out the new money, where it is, now the sales team can go out and figure out in that market who's got it,
Yeah.
how people get it. And then there's just kind of continues from there.
And if the answer to that question doesn't line up with your zone of expertise, don't deal with it. Either pass it off or suggest it, but leave it alone.
Right. And then, all of them paying attention to the numbers behind all the questions, yes. But if you could only answer one question, ask one question and answer one question, this will allow you to really focus on the thing that you're really good at. That was a big thing we did over the last year, is getting the right people in the right seats. We had a few people, they were the right people,
Yeah.
but we were in the wrong seats. And so once we navigated that, and now like hiring and firing is super easy, because the first question our team always asks is, are they the right person?
Yeah. So
Now, if it's easy, you just fire them right away.
yeah, click on that, right? Are they the right person? What does that mean,
Yeah. So
generally speaking?
every company, and this is a thing that I coach and teach when I'm working with younger companies, or companies that are really like struggling with their personnel, or building their organization, or like an owner who's struggling to get out of having to do everything. The first thing you have to determine is, who are you? As an organization, who are you? What do you want to be? What are you looking to do? Once you determine that, then what we did was we determined like a persona, an employee persona, and we wrote it out. When we came back, I told you we came back and kind of changed our
Yeah.
philosophy. We wrote out an employee persona based on what I had talked about. Every employee had to sign that.
Yeah.
This is who we are. This is who you have to be to work here long term. If you're continually working on being this person, you get to work here. If you're not, you don't.
So that's like a mission, vision, and core values. And the core values is the persona. Do you embody these? Do you also, want to live these same values as us, right? And that may not be perfect today, but if the person says I want to, and then they demonstrate enough embodiment of those, and they're not contrary to that. If they're contrary, then they have to go no matter what, right? Even if they're very talented, right?
Right. Yep. You could have the best employee, but if they're not the right person, or have the right persona that you're looking for, they just don't work in the organization. So yeah, the first thing you got to decide is, who are you going to be? Figure out what that looks like, and then you start recruiting and hiring according to that. That makes the firing super easy. We had this wonderful person, came, interviewed, did a good interview and everything. But when they got here and started working 3 days in, and my team came to me and said, yeah, they're not the right person.
Yeah.
And at the end of the week, they really hadn't even done a lot of work for us, but we just sat them down and said, you know what? You're great, but we want to help you find the best place for you. And unfortunately, it's here. And so, we had that conversation with the person and helped them find something better, or kind of set them out so they could find
Yeah.
something that was more aligned with them.
And emotionally, that can be difficult to do. I need that person. I need to fill that role. I need a body there, right? And I've hired them. I think I'll give them another week or another month to see if maybe anything changes. But making that decision quickly, ultimately is a very profitable decision, and culture maintaining decision for an organization, right? And good for that other person as well, to be able to go out and more quickly find a place where maybe they can find a better home, right?
Yeah, and you brought up the culture. Like, that's a huge thing for an organization, is you really need to, when you figure out who you are, like what that persona looks like, you got to figure out what your culture and what you want that to be inside the organization. Then the hiring, firing is super simple, because first question you ask is, are they the right person?
Yeah.
If they're the right person, that means they line up with your culture. You have alignment there. Then from there, it's just, okay, what's the best seat for them? And you find out, like, one thing we talk with our people about, we want you doing the thing that excites you the most.
Yeah.
We had a person who was an estimator for a long time, and she kind of built one part of our organization, but it wasn't what she was really great at. And when we finally figured out what she was really great at, and what like lit her fire up and just sparked her, we shifted her into outside sales, and she just got up and just took off. And so that's the big thing, is if they're the right person, now you just really got to figure out that seat
Yeah.
that's going to excite them all the time coming to work.
Yeah. Yeah. So she liked one part of that job, but not the other part of it. And by able to segmenting it and let her do that part that she likes the most. Yeah. It really accelerated. And you look, there's a book like Gap in the Gain. I can't remember the title now. They talk about that if you've seen it, but it's, you're never always doing 100% of the thing that you love to do, but if you can do a lot more of it, right, and focus in on it. And there's something about focus, right? And I think as a small business, sometimes, you can get lots of, shiny object syndrome or wearing too many hats. But as you can begin to take those hats off and laser focus in, people, you're doing that thing that they get the most energy from a lot. And that really helps propel success for the individual and for the organization as well. Switching costs is expensive, right? I got to put one hat on, I got to take another hat off. It's very distracting. It's hard to get good at anything, right? So
Yeah, and I think like small business owners, especially when they're starting out, like we did, you're doing everything. Like I was admin, I was HR, I was, invoicing, AP, all of that stuff. And I think the challenge with a lot of small business owners is they don't realize how to get to the point where they're focusing on the thing that they really excel at.
yeah,
And when they can figure that out and then they really enjoy that, now they can really grow their business. But a lot of them just struggle with getting there and not sure how to figure that out. And that's where like the consulting and the asking and the asking for help and figuring out what you don't know is critical for small business.
yeah. And I think there's also a fear of letting things go sometimes too, right? Like, there's control freak inside of us, right? And so, yeah, how do
That
you,
goes back to that. That goes back to the right person, right culture. Now figure out the best seat for them.
yeah, yeah. So,
One
yeah,
thing that I've learned, one thing, and I just wanted to share this.
yeah,
One thing that I've learned is for every task that needs to be done, there's an individual out there who loves it.
yeah,
Like I was doing all the estimating and I didn't enjoy it. Like I enjoyed getting the contracts.
yeah,
We hired a couple of people and oh my God, they love it so much. It's like, I can't believe how much they love doing that.
yeah,
So it really taught us that for everything that you need to have done, there is somebody who just loves doing that. You just got to find them.
yeah. So being determined and knowing that, this is true, and it may sometimes be difficult to find that person, but persistent in going down that path. Well, this has been some good stuff. I mean, just quick hitting, ideas on like, where do you find good people these days? Like, how are you going out and just building your pool to begin with? So you mentioned high schools. I like that. I imagine you're maintaining relationships with some of these young kids, and some of them are coming to work for you eventually. And that's an investment in the future of your company that maybe doesn't pan out tomorrow, but not, in 6, 12, 24 months, probably not that long out, right? Anything else?
Yeah. And we're like, every time I go down there, I'm very fortunate. I get to go down there in the fall once a week for a couple of months. And then I go back in the spring and just talk to them, and talk about our opportunity, but also about what's going to happen for them in the future of their life, try to give some guidance. I think a big thing is you got to figure out like who you need to hire. So it's going to be different for every company, but it's still going to be a very similar process.
Yeah.
So depending upon the skill, that's where you're going to look. If you can get referrals, those are the best,
Mm-hmm.
Or, like we have a couple of people that do a little bit of headhunting.
Yeah. Internally, that
Right.
proactively building relationships.
Right. So you can find some of those people on LinkedIn, or if there's people out there doing stuff, like the thing most people have to remember is all the people who are really good at what they do probably have a job.
Yeah. And probably are pretty well liked there too, I imagine.
So what you got to find is somebody who's maybe looking for something better or looking for a shift in their career at this point in their life.
Yeah.
And so kind of finding that and then targeting that. And then, so yeah, recruit. I mean, we do for our field, we do Indeed, and we've done some of our administrative staff on Indeed. But a big part of that is going to be the interview process.
Yeah.
Recruiting, if you can get the referrals or the headhunting is the best, because now you're targeting people that are good.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that, sometimes it's a little bit of a crapshoot to.
Yeah. Throw an ad on Indeed or whatever, right?
And we've had our best luck, especially on higher level people. We've had our best luck with referrals or just kind of that
Headhunting. Yeah. So I love that. So, I mean, you've got kind of 4 different things that you spelled out. And from my perspective, one, you get your traditional job boards that can be good for trades and lower levels, but the ownership is on you to do a very good job of vetting them to make sure that they have the right skills and, more importantly, the right culture match, or the right person ultimately. And so that can be helpful. Developing new people in the trades is investing in the future by spending time at high schools, maybe junior colleges, or networking with vocational schools. All of those would be probably in that same bucket, and inspiring them about this new career path, and then cherry picking the best of the best from that. Again, still vetting them. And then you have referrals, which is my favorite. I think, any company who leans it creates what I call a culture of referrals is automatically going to be light years ahead and win, because your best trades all worked with some other person at some other company and could probably spot, one that they would like to have come be on their team and work on a project with, right? And can be your evangelist, probably even better than you can, right? Because they can speak about what it's like to be working here, right?
Right.
And then the last one, I want to just really punctuate here at the end of this call, is that be your own headhunter piece is, and this is something I share with folks all the time. Spend 10 minutes a day on LinkedIn connecting with your ideal candidates. It's not a solicitation. You just connect. Hey, we're both in the same space. You both are building things in, Wisconsin, right? There's nothing unusual about this behavior. You don't need to upset your competitors too much about this thing. But that connection then leads to hey, we're both in the same space. I'd love to exchange notes. Would you get a cup of coffee with me, right?
Right. And find ways to help. Zig Ziglar, he always, if you help enough people get what they want, you can have everything you want.
Yeah.
And I will always joke with people and kind of ask them, do you have everything you want? And they're like, no, not yet. And I'm like, well, you haven't helped enough people.
Yeah. There you go.
Like find these people, find out what their needs are, what you can do to help them. Maybe it's just some guidance with their career or whatever. Just become known as somebody who is helpful out there. And I guarantee it'll come back and people will be out to help you. We went from the mindset of the scarcity mentality to the abundance mentality, shifted from everybody's out to get us to everybody's out to help us. And really, we see it evident almost every day here in our organization that everybody's out to help us.
Yeah.
I got to put that out there and kind of do that out there, especially in the marketplace when you're trying to hire.
Yeah.
People are again, the good people are already working. You need to create something that's really going to attract them, and then either have programs or have ways that you help them once they come, training, coaching, whatever it is. Again, people are looking for a place to connect, to grow, to become more. You just got to give that to them.
Yeah. You're building those relationships by giving first, right? By helping, and how can I help you in your career, or, the network, what challenges are you dealing with? Maybe I can share some, ideas on how I've solved that, or, whatever it might, maybe it's personal, right? I'm having trouble with my teenage kid, and maybe you have some insights to share about that. Right. And that's how all relationships are built. If you meet a stranger on the street or at a party, if there's reciprocal care or interest in the individual, that other person's more likely to reciprocate. Right. And, like you, it's personal, right?
Relationships.
Yeah. Everything. Yeah. Well, I think that's great. I mean, those are the big channels. And so I think you do a great job of embodying those or explaining those. And so, I think, we definitely want to make sure folks are hearing that this can be done. You're doing it every day and you're leveraging those. So I really appreciate your time today, Brian. What's the best way to get in contact with you? How can people find you or your organization?
You can find me on LinkedIn. Just look for Brian Keller or QBC. You can email me, bkeller, Keller, at questbuildingcorp.com. That's QUEST, buildingcorp spelled out.com. Just go look. You can find us on the internet, questbuildingcorp.com. Should be able to find a way to contact us and get a hold of us.
Yeah.
If you can find me online, just reach out.
Well, if you're a construction
happy to talk.
Yeah, if you're a construction professional and you're looking for a better home, Brian obviously would love to chat with you and help you, guide you through your career. And if you're a subcontractor and you're struggling to get to that next level, I'm sure you'd be happy to offer a few, words of wisdom like you did today with us. And we really appreciate that as well. So thank you for being on, Brian.
Nope, I appreciate it. Thanks, Fletcher.
Thank you so much for listening to our People First Builders podcast. If you're a successful construction CEO and would like to tell your story on this program, please visit our podcast homepage, FletcherWimbush.com/peoplefirstbuilders, or check it out in the notes below. If you got something out of this interview and would like to share the episode on socials, we always appreciate that. Just take a quick screenshot with your phone, text it to a friend, or post it to the socials. If you know someone who might be a great guest, tag them on social and let them know. And don't forget, #PeopleFirstBuilders. I love seeing your posts and guest suggestions. We're regularly putting out new content To make sure that you don't miss out on any episodes, go ahead and hit subscribe on your favorite podcast channel. Your thumbs up and ratings and reviews go a long way to help promote the show and mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more? Go to our website, FletcherWimbush.com, or follow me on LinkedIn. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.